Good morning, afternoon, evening. Welcome back for another video. I'm going to do something different this time. I haven't done this in a while, but I wanted to take a deep dive and let's talk about lengthening cycles. Somebody commented on my most recent video and asked me to do some kind of an examination. And I thought, yeah, you know what? Now is a good time, given the fact that, if you've been watching my channel, things have been lining up very well over the last months, but I know that the first 17 days of November, things haven't looked exactly according to plan. And so I want to ask this question, and I want to share with you what I believe, and I want to share with you what other people believe. Will we have a lengthening cycle or not? And the answer, to an extent, is already yes, we are having a lengthening cycle in some regard. If Bitcoin peaked today, the time difference between its third halving and its peak will have been longer than the previous cycle and the cycle before that. So yes, lengthening cycles, but the real question is, to what extent are the cycles lengthening? And so I want to share with you my thoughts. I want to take a look at some other thoughts, including Benjamin Cowen, 360 Trader on Twitter. You might know him. Another one that you may not know, Matt Bitcoin. He has a pretty modest following, but I love his stuff. Plan B as well. And so let's take a look at some things right here. First of all, 1 second. Okay. What do I believe? Okay. Part one. Now, these are conviction level beliefs. These are beliefs that I hold very tightly. And there's only two, because I in general want to be open-handed about this. But here are my two conviction level beliefs. One is simply that 69,000 is nowhere near the top of this cycle between now and the next halving. I'm looking at all of the data. There's data that I've shared with you, the MVRVZ score, Puel indicator, a lot of other things that I would say, no, we are nowhere near the top. 69,000 wasn't the top. Is it the top of the month even? I don't think so. I think that we're going to close higher than $69,000. Where will we close it? We'll see. Time will tell. We have about 2 weeks left. So $69,000, nowhere near the top. I think we'll at least breach that in December at the earliest, or at the latest, I should say. But, you never know. We will see. The second one, and this is something that is pretty unique to me, is that what do I believe Bitcoin will hit in the bear market? I think it's going to do what it's always done. I think it's going to hit that 200-week simple moving average. Will wick below it, but never have a monthly close below that average, at least between now and the next cycle. So I believe the 200-week simple moving average will rise to around $50,000, which will mark the bear market bottom. And so these are things that I hold tightly. You know that I have been on record saying that I think Bitcoin is going to peak around $200,000, maybe a little bit above it. And that will help. That would help the 200-week simple moving average rise to that $50,000 level, because you think about the weeks that are eliminated. It's weeks when, that's 4 years ago, weeks when Bitcoin was well under $10,000. Those weeks are limited. We get these new weeks added where Bitcoin is above $100,000, higher than that, around the $100,000 to $200,000 range. This doesn't necessarily need to happen, though. The $200,000 Bitcoin peak. Let's say we have a rounded top like we did in May, and we spend several weeks above $100,000. That will work out to raise this 200-week simple moving average to $50,000. Maybe we don't have a blow-off top like we did in 2017 and twice in 2013. And so we don't go up to $200,000. I'm okay with that possibility, but the thing that I hold tight is that this 200-week simple moving average will go above $50,000. And let me explain why in this next chart. This is a chart on lookintobitcoin.com. This blue line is the 200-week simple moving average. And you can see we did have some wicks below it, but we never breached it in a monthly candle. And I expect that trend to continue. If we were on lookintobitcoin.com, right now what we would see is the 200-week simple moving average at $17,000 or so and rising. And so for me to expect that to go to $50,000, we do need to stay above that for sure. And we need to probably be higher, most likely be higher than where we are now. at around $60,000 as I'm making this video. But here's why I believe specifically $50,000 or so will be the bear market bottom, whenever that is, lengthening cycle, non-lengthening cycle, 200-week simple moving average around $50,000, is because of this. Now you see where Bitcoin bottomed out in 2015. It spent several months just riding this 200-week moving average, and it is above the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level from the 2011 peak, which was around $60. It ranges above by about 40%. That's what it did. And sorry, not bear market bottom, summer bottom, the 2013 summer bottom. That's a 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level from the 2011 peak, which was at $32. And so it stayed about 40% above that 2013 summer bottom. And then in late 2018, early 2019, we again went down and breached the 200-week simple moving average, but we didn't have a monthly close above it or below it. And that dollar amount was around $3,000 and rose a little bit steadily with it before shooting up higher. But again, so the summer bottom, the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level from the 2013 peak, that summer bottom was about $1,800. The summer 2013 peak was about $1,300. So $1,800, about 40% higher than that summer bottom, was this bear market bottom of $3,000. And, let's just throw out the coronavirus bottom. Again, we didn't have a monthly close around that time, the coronavirus crash. And so I expect the same thing to happen again, this 200-week simple moving average to rise to about 40% higher than the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level from the 2017 peak, which is about $30,000. So rise about 40% higher than that. That puts it about, around $50,000, et cetera. There's room for margin for error, of course. So anyway, those are the convictions that I hold very tightly, which means that we need to see Bitcoin move much higher for this 200-week simple moving average to rise much higher than where it is now. So what do I believe? Part two, open-handed beliefs. Bitcoin will hit $200,000 this bull run. But like I said, that is an open-handed belief. If we have a rounded top, not a blow-off top, then I could see Bitcoin not hitting $200,000. That's fine. Second, Bitcoin will peak in December 2021 or January of 2022. I know at this point in November, that is a controversial belief. I don't see a reason to deviate from that yet. Why? I will cover this later. The third reason, the third thing that I believe in open-handed belief is that I do believe that Bitcoin is going to have a blow-off top, similar to April 2013, November 2013, December 2017. I do not believe it will have a rounded top similar to earlier this year when we peaked at $58,000 in February and then ranged in that area, peaked at $64,900 in April, and then stayed in that $58,000 range until we dumped in May of this year. I don't think we're going to have a 13-week rounded top like we did earlier this year. So yeah, I'll cover the reasons why later, but for now, let me share what do other people believe about lengthening cycles. I'm sure that there is a long list. There's someone actually I didn't include in here. There's two people that really stick out to me that I didn't include in here, and that number one would be the blockchain backer. He thinks that Bitcoin's going to peak this cycle between $72,000 and $85,000, which I'm fine with. But let's go back here real quick. A conviction level belief of mine, the 200-week SMA will rise to around $50,000. That is very much incongruent with what he believes. He believes that it'll peak at $72,000 to $85,000 and then drop, I think, below $20,000 in the bear market. And because again, this is a conviction level belief of mine, I do not include his point of view in this presentation, but I acknowledge that it does exist. The second one would be somebody like Willy Woo. Now, Willy Woo believes that we're done with cycles. how do I explain this? That there's not going to be these intense swings of 85%, a peak at $200,000 and an 85% drop, or a peak at $250,000 and 85% drop to that $50,000 bear market bottom. That's an 80% drop from there. But anyway, he doesn't believe in the typical what we've seen for the last 12 years of Bitcoin's existence cycle. So I don't include him in here. I am not writing both of those men off completely. I'm just, for the sake of this, we're talking about lengthening cycles. They believe something different. And so talking about lengthening cycles. Who believes in this December-January peak that I believe in? We have, and I would, guys, I would strongly recommend that you follow every one of these people, whether they share your belief or not. I have their Twitter names here. I would strongly recommend that you follow these people on Twitter. And I hope I'm doing justice to their stances. I do believe that I have not missed with any of these. So anyway, Jordan Lindsay, I cannot recommend him strongly enough. Tech Dev, not Tech Deck, sorry about that. Tech Dev _52. Alan Au, I believe it's AU Au. I think that's a symbol for gold, but I don't know if that's his actual last name or not. CVO Crypto, if you're watching my channel, I'm sure you're familiar with CVO Crypto. Year of the Bull has been huge for me. Misconfig _exe. He is the one who drew my attention initially to this extreme consistency between the previous bull runs, that 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level that I've been talking about. And so definitely recommend him as well. Now, what about other views? We have the spring 2022 peak. As far as I know, Plan B does believe that we're going to peak sometime in the spring of 2022. I don't have much data from him as far as that's concerned, so I'm not going to talk about him anymore in this presentation, but obviously I'm going to strongly recommend that you follow Plan B. And then somebody who I'm sure a lot of you have no idea who he is. I recognize talent and I like talent, and I believe that Matt Bitcoin is a very smart guy, somebody worth following. He has like 11,000 followers on Twitter. I'm going to share one of his charts. He believes in a spring 2022 peak. He's very confident about that. Follow him on Twitter, Matt_Bitcoin. Now, fall of 2022 peak, we have 360 Trader at 360 _trader. I'll get into his logic. Really the difference between him and Matt Bitcoin is not really all that dramatic, but I'll explain the differences in their opinion briefly. And then January 2023 question mark peak, I have Benjamin Cowen. We'll talk about Benjamin a little bit, and he does strongly believe in lengthening cycles, but he's open-handed. He's very much open-handed pretty much about anything. So I don't know if he would be close-handed. I have those two close-handed beliefs. I don't know if he'd be close-handed really about, I don't think if he would have anything closed-handed on his list, but I put him here because he does believe that, sure, Bitcoin could possibly peak in January of 2023, which I'm sure is something that a lot of you watching this video don't even want to consider. But guys, that's only 14 months from now. And you've got to be open to all of these all of these possibilities. So, arguments for lengthening cycles. First halving date was the first cycle peak was 367 days after the halving. So keep that in mind. The November 2013 peak was 367 days after the first halving. The second peak, December 17th, 2017, was 526 days after the second halving in July of 2019. The third halving was in May of 2020. So when would the next peak be? We'll see. Is it going to be, there's no way it's 367 days. It's been more than 526 days. So there is some kind of lengthening that's happening here. And so here's the basic, very, very basic logic for why somebody would argue for a lengthening cycle. So the day from the second halving to its peak was 159 days longer than the first halving to its peak. The day from the third halving to its peak should at least be, 159 days. I am going the wrong direction. Okay, 100 should at least be 159 days longer than the second halving, from its peak. That would give us a peak of 685 days after the third halving, which gives us a date of March 27th of 2022. I don't specifically know anyone who argues based on just days. So let me read this next paragraph. However, it is probably more appropriate to think in terms of percentages. And if I were to believe in lengthening cycles, I would argue more in percentages over number of days. So the second peak was 43.3. It took 43.3% longer than the first peak from its halving. If the third peak from its halving takes 43.3% longer, that would be, I think, 750 something days. I don't remember the exact amount, but that would put a peak at June 4th of 2022. Now, Matt Bitcoin, this is his chart. I took it from his Twitter account, and I really like his content. He believes that Bitcoin is going to peak sometime in May of 2022. His logic is similar to this, looking at percentages versus days. So May of 2022 would, and his dollar amount is $180,000, which again, I am perfectly fine with, because that means we're going to spend more time above that. We can lift that 200-week simple moving average up to an adequate amount that its bear market bottom, maybe a year after that May 2022 peak, would probably be around $50,000. We would have eliminated enough days, enough four-figure Bitcoin days to raise the bear market bottom 200-week simple moving average to $50,000. And you can see, it seems, according to his plan, we are going right along with schedule, right along the plan. And so this is fine. It's fine if this is how it plays out. I have no problem with it. And so, yeah, we will have some ups and downs between now and the peak in May of 2022. And, we'll just follow this trend line, this minor curve here. This does account somewhat for a euphoria phase. And so I would not be shocked at all if something like this happened. I am open-handed, like I said, about this. But let's talk about some differences, very simple differences between Matt Bitcoin, 360 Trader, and Benjamin Cowen. So Matt Bitcoin and 360 Trader, they're very straightforward. Matt Bitcoin believes it will be a similar percentage increase in time between halvings and peaks. That's why he has a peak month of May 2022. 360 Trader believes that the percentage of time between the third halving and its peak will also increase. So instead of a 43.3% increase in time, it could be something like, I don't know, maybe something like 50 to 60%. And so his peak month is September of 2022. Benjamin Cowen is more agnostic. He believes it could be longer, but again, I don't believe he's committed to any specific date. He's, like I said, very open-handed. So for him, if there was a peak in May of 2022, I think that would be within his range. September of 2022 obviously would be within his range, and he could see it maybe going as far out as January of 2023. So some considerations there. I'll be honest, I don't watch a ton of Benjamin Cowen. I watch probably 2 or 3 videos of his a month, and I hope that I have been faithful to where he stands on certain things. If not, feel free to correct me on that. So in light of this, I have one very, very strong encouragement to you. And it's simply this: I would strongly encourage you to be okay with each of these potential scenarios and to be flexible with your beliefs no matter which one ends up playing out. I have a concern that a lot of you, just paying attention to my live streams, the chatter in my live streams, I get this question over and over again: what's your number one bet for something that's going to 10x as quickly as possible? And a lot of you, I fear, are uncomfortable with the idea of having to delay a potential peak a few months or maybe even more than a year. And if that is your mentality, you've got to change that mentality. That is a short amount of time. Time goes by quickly. And if you're in it for a 10x return or a 5x return in a matter of a couple of months, you really, really need to check your motivation. Because I'm just telling you this from personal experience, lots and lots of personal experience running businesses, building up a business and selling it, building up a second business and working on it. Wealth gained hastily usually disappears quickly. And so if that's your mentality, that you're in it for the quick gains and you actually think that you're going to be responsible with those newfound quick gains, you are going to get wrecked no matter how well you do. Again, if that's your mentality. If you are prepared for a variety of different outcomes and you suddenly come upon quick gains, fine, be careful, be very careful. But anyway, be flexible. Now here is an argument, probably, should I call this the strongest argument in favor of a potential lengthening cycle? I think it's a very strong argument in favor of lengthening cycles. We have the pi top indicator. If you're not familiar with the pi top indicator, it has basically called the peaks within 3 days. Whenever this 111-day moving average, if you can see I think it's an thin orange line, whenever that crosses over or intersects with this 350-day moving average times 2, it has been within 3 days of a cycle peak or a mini peak, early cycle peak. So 2013, pi cycle indicator crossed it, the 111-day moving average crossed the 350-day moving average times 2. It crossed it twice, and within 3 days, Bitcoin peaked. In 2017, same deal. In May of earlier this year, it intersected with it, and that was the peak. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because for Bitcoin, if this indicator is correct, which I am hesitant to say that it's going to be correct this time, Bitcoin would have to go up to something like $500,000 in December or January for the 111-day moving average to intersect with the 350-day. I cannot picture a $500,000 Bitcoin in a month or two. I hope I'm wrong. Please, pleasantly surprise me on that. But what happens if in May Bitcoin peaks at $100,000? Would this 111-day moving average cross over that 350-day moving average? I think it's much more likely. So according to the pi cycle top indicator, we just need a little bit more time. We'll see. So one other consideration this is a warning. If Matt Bitcoin is right, let's say we peak in May, we might not have to worry about this. But if Benjamin Cowen or 360 Trader are more accurate and we are going to peak more like in late 2022 or early 2023, we will most likely have another mini bear market like we had over the summer. And so here's what I'm looking at. This is the 2017 chart. Should look familiar. 200-day simple moving average. We just rode along that line in 2016 and in early 2017, wicked down in July, came close to the 200-week moving average. We just rode. It was a very clean run before we were too far gone, parabolic run up to $20,000. And in 2021, we started, or 2020, we started riding along that line. And then we just got a little too excited and we peaked at $64,900. Look at how far away we were from this 200-day simple moving average, about $65,000. We were so far gone that when we corrected, for us to even get back to the 200-day simple moving average, the amount of pressure, the amount of panic in the system kind of forced us to go even further down. And so that is what I think happened, is that just simply getting to the 200-day simple moving average was too much pressure. So we faced a mini bear market over the summer. Now look at where we are again. If Bitcoin is going to peak in late 2022 or early 2023, we are too far gone from this 200-day simple moving average. And I would expect us to come back down to earth. And the kind of the frustrating thing with this is that this moving average is going to stay around where it is for quite a while, because we have 13 weeks here well under the 200-week simple moving average that we would have to, 200-day simple moving average that we would have to eliminate. And we're not anywhere near eliminating those days to raise this price up further, unless, of course, we shoot higher right away. and then that'll raise. But still, we will need to have some kind of mini bear market. Would I expect it to go back down to $30,000? No, not quite. Maybe 40, maybe 45, maybe even $50,000. I don't, but that is in the cards. It is very, very likely to happen that, again, we would have a mini bear market, and perhaps, not perhaps, very likely a triple peak this cycle instead of a double peak like 2013. Oh man, my heart, I really, really hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, we will be prepared. Okay. And I will be planning on looking for those signs, similar signs to what happened earlier this year. And I'll be converting a lot of my altcoins to stablecoins, to Bitcoin, to Ethereum, and I would recommend something similar. So we'll cross that bridge if and when it gets there. But why do I currently not believe in lengthening cycles? I mean, I sort of do, because this cycle is already longer than the previous bull runs, I should say. Do I not believe in lengthening bull runs within a cycle? I need to clarify that, because there are people who believe that halvings will not have nearly the same effect as they do now. But why do I not believe in lengthening bull runs within cycles, not as much as somebody like Matt Bitcoin or 360 Trader? Well, look at the similarities between 2021 and past bull runs. And I'm sorry for the weirdness here, but anyway, I'm not going to edit it. I've worked long and hard on this enough. But all right, let's compare this to 2013, because this bull run has lined up very well with 2013. We had an initial surge early in the year, both years. First peak in 2013 was April 9th of 2013. First peak in 2021 was April 14th of 2021. Summer lull, both years. And then when did we reverse? When did we officially reverse course? Both years. It was July of that year, July of 2013, July of 2021. Bullish hammer trend reversal. That's the monthly candle. And we moved in a different direction. The bottom day in July of 2013 was July 9th, 2013, bottom at the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level. I've talked about that a lot, from the 2011 peak. The bottom in July of 2020 was July 20th of 2020. Same exact point, the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level from the 2017 peak. July was the bullish hammer trend reversal. And not only that, we had the same thing happen. This is kind of where things lined up with 2017. From here on, 2017, bullish hammer trend reversal, bottom, I believe, was July 15th of 2017 at the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level from the 2013 peak. And then August was a good month, September flat, October's a good month, same deal this time around. November 30th peak for 2013, question mark peak for 2021. But as of right now, there is an obvious elephant in the room, and that is that November has been a rough month. I'm not going to deny that. So far, November has been very rough. It's been flat. Last I checked, we're down about $1,500 for the month. And so what gives? Do we need to deviate from this? Do we need to call for an extended cycle? I am willing to, at some point, call for an extended cycle, to abandon plans that Bitcoin, as much as I would love for it to peak and for the bull run to come to its dramatic fireworks finish. It's for me to say it's just not in the cards. I need more than 17 days of data. And here is what I think is going to happen if you look at this chart. I shared it yesterday in my video. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. But I am expecting some kind of a pop before this month closes. Will we get to Plan B's $98,000? I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, I kind of care, but I don't. It's not necessary that has to happen. But I am seeing here a bullish divergence in illiquid supply versus the price. Price is going down, illiquid supply is going up. And look at illiquid supply. This is my favorite metric. I'm sorry for those of you who watch all of my videos. I'm talking about it again. But illiquid supply rose throughout the year and then peaked on Bitcoin on Coinbase Day, and then dumped But then ever since then, it's been rising and rising and rising. I expect it to rise more. And what I'm seeing, the behavior that I'm seeing right now as Bitcoin is struggling around $60,000 is anytime it goes below $60,000, long-term holders are adding to their positions. They're saying, thank you very much. I will take the supply off of exchanges. I will put it in cold storage and I will hold on to it for quite a while. And so if you look at past history here, illiquid supply rises, price goes down, price pops. July, June into July, illiquid supply rises, price goes down, the price pops, bullish divergence. And then in September, the price was going down, the illiquid supply was rising, and then we saw on October 1st a very nice pop in the price. And I'm expecting before the month close, as this illiquid supply continues to rise, and I would even say now it's starting to go parabolic, but then the price is going down. I'm expecting something similar to happen where we see a pop. Where in particular, I don't know, but I have some scenarios that I'm happy to work out. Let me share with you one more chart. Bitcoin's balance on exchanges. It's continuing to go down. Where was it? In the summer months, it was at about 2.7 million. Now it's at 2.45 million and dropping. And that is a good sign for no matter how long this cycle goes, that we are nowhere near the peak of the cycle. And so here's just the rest of November. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about. But the rest of November, I've shared this already. I expect some kind of a pump before the end of the month. But here's what I'm thinking. So scenario one, no pump. If there's no pump, if we just close flat for November, I have to subscribe to some kind of lengthening cycle. Back to the drawing board. And fine. Again, that's perfectly fine if that's how it plays out. I hold very strongly to this idea that $69,000 is not the top. So we'll see what happens after that, whether it's May, whether it's March, whether it's September, whether it's January 2023. Back to the drawing board, lengthening cycles, and I would encourage some kind of similar mentality of just being flexible. Scenario two is kind of the odd one, the oddball one. Let's just say Bitcoin goes up to like $75,000 or $80,000. I'm not sure what to do with that. Aside from one thing, here's my one thought. If Bitcoin closes around this range, $70,000 to $80,000 or $85,000, it will have risen well above that May top of $64,900. So I've shared this in other videos, but we've crossed that $64,900 level, but we haven't been able to hold that as support. So we've gone below it. We've done that twice now. A $75,000 to $80,000 monthly close, I think, would involve holding that level, the April top, as support and then pushing higher. And when Bitcoin has historically done that, within 34 days, every time, the price has doubled. And so I would expect maybe something like 30 to 40 days for Bitcoin's price to double from $64,900 whenever we turn that into support. So we'll see what that means for the rest of the run. Maybe there's some kind of peak in January or February. I'm not sure. I still need to work this one out. Scenario three, $90,000 to $100,000 monthly close. Do I believe this is going to happen? As of right now, I'd have to be honest and say, nah, it seems not like that's not going to happen. But if it does, then yes, I do believe Bitcoin will peak in late December, early January. So in my opinion, scenario two is the most likely for the November close. And if that happens, can we peak in late December, early January? Certainly we can. Am I open to the idea that we would peak in late January, early February? Absolutely. And then again, if scenario one happens, then we'll go back to the drawing board. But the thing that I am convinced about is that we are by no means over with this cycle. I don't see anything, and I'll gladly take I'll mention this in other videos. I don't see any sign that we have peaked, and I've shared that a ton. I'll share it again. But anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that if you're nervous about not peaking in December, just calm down. It's okay if we don't peak in December or in January. All we have to do is go back to the drawing board and form new convictions and new beliefs and work on those beliefs and adjust if we have to. So if you like this content, please let me know. Smash up that like button. Leave a comment in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I appreciate all of your support. Much love. I'll see you in another video. Peace.